Congratulations on making it to Chapter 6 of the Complete Web Developer course. So now you've looked at a range of different front-end technologies, that is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, and Twitter Bootstrap. They've allowed you to create responsive and interactive websites that look pretty good. So where does WordPress fit in? Well, WordPress is a content management system, or CMS. Essentially, it's a platform for creating and editing a website. It was initially designed for blogs, but has moved far beyond that and now powers a significant proportion of the whole internet. It's built on PHP and MySQL, so after you've completed those sections, you'll really be able to customize it and change it however you like. But in this chapter, we're just going to look at how it can be used to create really great looking websites very quickly. It has the advantage of not requiring much coding knowledge to maintain a website in WordPress. You can update it purely from the web interface. So that means if you're creating a website for a client, you can present them with their WordPress website, it looks great, and they can update it themselves without having to contact you. So let's get set up straight away with WordPress. So there's the WordPress.org homepage. You can spend a few minutes clicking around and reading around there to get an idea of what's going on there. And you can also download and install WordPress directly from the WordPress.org homepage. However, most web hosts, including Eco Web Hosting, with whom you have your free hosting, will give you a WordPress blog installation script included in the hosting. So to get there, if you're using your free web hosting, go to ecowebhosting.co.uk/cp/list domains, and any domains that you've created will be listed there. If you haven't created one yet and you're not sure how, go back to the videos in the first chapter and they'll show you how to do it. So clicking on the domain name there takes you to the control panel, and from the control panel you can do all manner of things, but we'll just focus on installing WordPress blog. So even though it's called WordPress blog, it's not limited to blogs. You can use WordPress for any kind of website. So I'm going to use a subfolder of WordPress, but you might want to install it just directly in the root of your domain name. There we go. I'm going to use the temporary URL. Remember, if you want to use the live URL, you need to actually purchase the domain name. So there we go. We now get the WordPress installation. So I'm just going to call mine demo site. I'm going to have a username of Rob Percival. And then for now, I'll use a very simple password. For WordPress sites, they are very commonly targeted by hackers, simply because the platform is extremely popular. So there are two things to bear in mind about that. Firstly, you should make your password as complicated as you possibly can and not write it down anywhere. And secondly, you'll definitely want to keep your WordPress installation up to date. That means updating it every time that an update is released. Otherwise, if you let it get out of date, it is very likely to be hacked. So I'll use my email address there and install WordPress. It won't take long. There we go. So we're ready to go straight away. So I'm going to use Rob Percival and my very unsecure password. And that should get us in. So this is the WordPress control panel. And this is where you'll be doing the editing of your site and the design of it, and essentially anything to do with the administration of your website. If you want to see what the site itself looks like, you can do that too. So at the moment, that's what it looks like. We've got a logo here, a menu down the left, and some content in the center. So not much to look at, but in the next video, we'll see how we can add content and start to improve on what we've got so far. In this video, I'm going to take you on a tour of the WordPress admin panel, or the dashboard as it's known. So this is where you will do the bulk of the work on your WordPress site, including setting it up, applying themes, and changing the content. So first of all, let's look at posts. So WordPress was originally designed to be a blog platform, and posts are the standard format for a blog update. So at the moment we've only got one post. If I try and edit that, you can see that we can change the title up here. My first blog post. And we can change the content down here. Now we can either use the settings up there to change the layout on the look of our content, or as we are web developers, I'd rather use the HTML view, and then you can have more control over your content and the layout of it. So there's various other options that we're not really going to go into in great detail. You can change the post format, you can change the post category, we'll look at categories shortly, add tags to a post, and change the main image for a post. So all reasonably straightforward. You would use this to post to your blog and update it and make changes. You'll notice that by default the URL is not particularly friendly. It's $p is equal to 1. We can fix that very easily by changing the permalinks. So permalinks are what WordPress uses to decide how to display your content in terms of what the URL should look like. So you've got various default choices. I usually go for the post name as being the setup that I use. Okay, great. And now if we just update that, we'll see that the permalink has changed from WordPress to Hello World. Now I don't actually want Hello World, I want my first blog post. So I can just update it right there and then click update to see it. So if I want to actually look at the post, I can click it there, and there we've got a post, and we've got a default comment as well. We'll have a look at comments shortly. So that's editing and creating a post. Looking at categories, if you're going to be blogging a great deal, then having categories that your users can look at to find posts that interest them are a very good idea. It's pretty straightforward. You can just add a new category right there, and then it's created there, and then you can add posts and pages to that category. You can also add subcategories and organize the categories however you like. Tags are similar to categories in that they allow you to arrange your posts and allow users to find them, but they're slightly looser. So categories, you need to have a set layout of categories, so every category either goes on its own or has a subcategory. With tags, you can just have as many tags as you like, and each tag will then apply to as many posts as you want it to. So far, so straightforward. The media section of a WordPress dashboard is where you upload and manage your files, like images and possibly videos, sound files, and anything else that you want to use in your posts. So just to show you how it works, if we want to add new media, we can either upload something by dropping it into this large box, or we can start selecting. So if I go into my websites and CSS, we've got a couple of images there. Let's go for the BBC logo. So then you'll see it's uploaded, and you can edit it right there, change the caption, change the alt text which is the text that appears if someone can't access the image for whatever reason, and various other things about the image. Great, so now that we've got that image, we could use it in our posts anywhere. And WordPress also does a very good job of resizing images. So you can choose to upload a very large image and then just refer to smaller versions of it when you don't need the full size. Great. Pages are much like posts, but they're designed to be used for more static content. So if you've got a website with a contact form, for example, that wouldn't be considered a post, that would be considered a page. So they're not generally ordered by date, they're ordered by however you want to put them in a particular menu. So on most sites, you'd have your blog page, which would contain all of your blog posts, and then you'd have several different pages, maybe an About Us page, maybe a portfolio page, and maybe a contact page, all sorts of other pages that you might have, and then they would contrast with posts by being fairly static and not arranged by date. So that's pages. Comments are fairly straightforward. You can either allow comments or not on each of your pages and posts. We've just got one demo comment here. I can either mark it as spam, put it in the trash, or do various other things with it. So comments, again, are reasonably straightforward. We're not going to go into them in any great detail, but we will look at a couple of ways to remove spam from your WordPress blog, which is quite a problem for anyone who's run a WordPress site before. So in the next video, we're going to look in much more detail at themes, but themes are obviously a pretty critical part of your website. It's another great reason to use WordPress because there's a number of free themes and paid for themes that you can use to make your site look really good very, very quickly. I'm going to come back to appearance later on. Plugins are another big reason to use WordPress. Most plugins are free, but there are a number of paid ones, and you can find a plugin to do pretty much anything you like. So if you want to add calendars to a page, contact forms, hold shops, forums, anything that you'd want to add to your site, you can do with a plugin. And we'll look at a couple of specific plugins in more detail later on. Users is most useful if you want to have a number of different users on your site. So this might be just people that are commenting on your posts, or it might be people that take a more active role in your site, such as users of a forum, or people who have purchased something in your shop. Again, we'll look at those in more detail later on. And then tools we'll have a quick look at now. Really, the only thing that you're going to use tools for is importing and exporting content. So if you've got content in another blog system, you can import it, or if you want to switch it from one WordPress host to another, then you can use this to export your content or import it somewhere else. And finally, we'll have a quick look through the settings menu. So we've already created the site title, a tagline. You can add very easily. You can change your URL, etc., time and date format, all fairly straightforward. Writing options, again, pretty straightforward. The email post is very useful if you're going to be updating your blog regularly. You can set it up so that you can just email your email address and that will update to your blog automatically. So very useful if you want to post really quickly without logging in, messing around with the formatting, etc. Now, the one setting that I normally change straight away when I start a new WordPress site is to change from the front page from your latest posts to a static page. So it depends what your site is going to be used for, but generally speaking, your blog probably won't be the front page of your site. It will likely be a static page, and then users can then find your blog within that if you want them to. And a few other bits of options there. And then you've got a few options for comments. So you might want to disable comments completely if it's not that sort of site, or you might want to force users to register to leave comments. You can have a look at the options yourself. And permalinks we've already looked at. So media just allows you to set the default sizes for the thumbnail image, medium and large sizes of images. Now, it can be a little bit difficult to get to grips with what WordPress is actually doing without having a reasonable amount of demo content. So there's a very useful site, wpcandy.com, who have created some demo content. And we're just going to download that and put this into the site that we're working with. Partly to show you how to import content, and partly so that we've actually got something to look at when we're looking at themes and other options. So that's been downloaded. So now I can just use the import tool from WordPress. I need to install the WordPress importer plugin to do that. That's all very straightforward. And now I can just choose my import file, which will be posts.xml. We haven't looked at XML files yet, but we will do in the APIs section of the course. And then upload and import. Great. All done. So now if we have a look at the posts, we've got a nice range of posts to work with there. A few pages, etc. So let's have a little look at what our site looks like now. So our home page is our sample page with a comment form on the bottom, and we've got recent posts now just down there. So there's our sample one, and then a post with some images, headings, etc. And along here we've got our menu, which looks really good. So two more things I want to show you before we look at installing themes. The first is the fact that WordPress has search built in. So adding search to a website is a reasonably complex task. You've got to create the code to search through the content of your site. You've got to keep your site in a database or somewhere where it's searchable, and then you have to find a way to rank the various search results. So if you're going to have a site where you want to have a search option, the WordPress really is a no-brainer. I'd definitely go for that rather than create a search system by hand. And the last thing then is just to look at how we edit and manage menus. Let's go back to the WordPress dashboard. So menus are hidden in Appearance. If we have a look at the menu there, so we don't have any custom menus yet. We only have the default one, which contains all of the pages. So we'll just have an example menu. And then if we select the pages that we want to add to our menu and add them there, then you've got your menu, and you can just drag things around as you want. If I want to put support inside Contact Us, for example, then I can do that. So very easy to create menus. Save that there. And now that we've created a menu, you'll notice that we have this Manage Locations tab. So we can now decide which menu goes in the top primary menu area. So I've now assigned that. Let's have a look. So now the menu that we created there is the one up there. So it's very easy to manipulate your content, change layouts, and build a reasonably sophisticated site without actually doing any coding. What you're probably wondering though is, how can we make this site look great? Well, that's where themes come in, and we'll look at those in the next video. So far, our site has got a fair bit of content. It's got a lot of posts, it's got some comments, and it's got some nice pages, but it doesn't look great. So really we want to focus on installing themes which will improve the look of our site and generally give it a more professional feel. So one place to search for themes is actually right in your WordPress dashboard. If you click on Appearance and Themes, you'll get a link to all of the themes that you've got installed so far. And if you want to add a new one, then you can browse them right there. So for example, this one here, we can preview it, see how it's going to look right within our blog. And we can also search for particular themes if you've got a website from a particular genre that you want to work with, then that's a great place to start. So I'm going to search for the Sugar and Spice theme. It's a nice enough one to start off with. And then we just install. And I'm going to activate it straight away. You don't need to, you can play around with it before you actually make it your default theme. But I'm going to take a look, see what our website looks like with that theme. So you can see it's completely transformed the look of our site. We haven't changed the content at all. It's still got all our default content that we imported, but it's completely changed the feel and the look. So if you want a site for which this is exactly the style that you're going for, then fantastic, your work is almost done. But more likely, you'll feel that this is a reasonably good starting point, but you've got a bit of work to do to make it into the site that you want. So let's just see how we can customize this theme first of all. So different themes have different levels of customization. And generally, if you pay for a theme, you're going to get a higher level of customization than you will on a free theme. So you've got title and background that you can change there, and then we can set the background color to anything we like. Looks to me in this case, because of the background image, background color is not going to display, so there would be the background color, but we're using a background image instead. If we wanted to remove the image and just have a plain color, then we can do that. Similarly, you can choose whether to have a static page or posts. We've seen that before. And then the widget areas tend to be the sidebar, usually on the right, and the footer area. We're going to look at widgets in a separate video. So they're the options that we've got. So not much that we can really do with this. If we want to go in there and really change the theme, then we can look at theme options. And again, the different themes will have different levels of customization. So here we can change the color scheme. So let's switch to a blue. Change the accent colors, and then upload a custom logo. That's pretty critical. Disable responsiveness if we want to, etc. So we can have a look at see how our color change has affected the site. Not a great deal, but we've got a slightly different look to it there. So free themes are great for getting a site up very quickly, and if you don't really care what the website looks like, then they're a fantastic resource. But if you ask me, if a website is worth building, it's worth making look really good. And to do that, you either really want to do a custom design yourself, or pay someone else to do it, or use a premium theme. So let's have a quick look at themeforest.net, which is probably the biggest provider of premium themes, not just for WordPress, but for all web platforms. So we're only looking at WordPress in this course because I think it's the most important of the content management systems, but there's Joomla, is a similar content management system, and then Magento is a widely used e-commerce platform. So let's have a look at our WordPress themes. I definitely would recommend you spend a bit of time playing around here and seeing what you like the look of, and seeing what you want to use for that great website that you've got in mind. Now there's two particular themes that I've used quite regularly. Generally, they are the most popular themes on ThemeForest, and they are Avada and X. So I'm going to be particularly focused on, in fact, X for the next couple of videos. But Avada is a great option as well, particularly if you've got a clean business site that you want to make. Then the Avada site offers a great deal of customization, and it gives you a fantastic looking website from the start. The thing I particularly like about X, however, is that it's hugely customizable, and you can create really completely different looking sites just from the one theme. Now it does cost $60, but if a website isn't worth $60 to you, I suspect it's not worth building. I can actually offer you 20% off your first purchase at themeforest.net as part of a promotion for this course. So if that's of interest, then email me at rob@robpercival.co.uk and I'll let you know how to do that. So let's have a look at the X theme and see what sort of sites we can build with it. So I'm going to click over straight to the demos, and then I'm just going to pick a few at random. We'll pick an e-commerce one as well. So there you go. This is the sort of thing you're going to get. There's lots of animation built in. Lots of different layouts. Background parallax scrolling effects, etc. So all of these page layouts and sort of chunks of layouts can be put into your websites using what are called shortcodes, and we'll look at those more in the next video. Now here, a completely different looking website. Much simpler, much smaller, but could be useful in the right circumstances. Now we've got another completely different looking website, this time with a sidebar, team images, contact form, etc. And again, a more business focused website this time. Another different theme. And here we've got an e-commerce site using the same theme. So if you're going to spend a bit of time with WordPress, and I really would recommend you do, then I think buying a copy of the X theme is a really great investment, where you'll be able to play around with that and make all sorts of different websites just from the one theme. On the next video, we're going to install the X theme on our site and make a really nice looking blog website. So we've already created a website which has a blog and static pages in it, but it doesn't look great yet. So we're going to use the X theme and use that as an example of how we can make a great looking site really easily with WordPress. So you need to purchase the X theme in order to follow along with this tutorial. When you do that, you'll be able to download the X package, which is a collection of files, the main one of which you'll need is the x.zip. So that's the actual theme content which we'll need to upload to WordPress. So let's see how we do that. We go back into our WordPress dashboard and we click Appearance and Themes, and this time we want to add our own custom theme. This one can't be downloaded from wordpress.org. So we choose our theme file. There it is. and then we're uploading, and in the same way it installs the theme as before, and we'll activate it straight away. Great. Now, premium themes often require certain plugins to be installed to use their content, so we'll just select all of those and then install them. This will take a little while, so I'll just pause the video so that you don't have to sit through me installing these plugins. Now you'll notice that the shortcodes plugin, which is required, was unsuccessful, so you do need to download that one manually from the X website, and you will need to purchase it to be able to access that. So I'm just downloading it here to the desktop, and now we'll go back to our plugins and upload a plugin, and then go back to the desktop. And then activate that. Great. The other two plugins we're not going to look at in great detail in this course, so if you try out the X theme, then do have a look at them, but we're not going to focus on them in the next few videos. So let's have a look and see what our website looks like now. Okay, so pretty basic, but already looks pretty good, I think. I like the general layout and the space. We're lacking a menu, etc. So let's get things set up first of all using this theme. We'll just refresh the page to get all the content, and that will give us the customizer. So this is specific to X. The premium themes often have their own system for updating the website. So first of all, you can choose which of the three stacks you want to work with. So stacks are styles of the X theme. So integrity, renew, and icon are the three, and it updates almost straight away when you select them. We're going to go for the renew option, and now you can make various choices about the width, colors, padding, etc. Colors of the links, all of that kind of thing, your blog title, etc. Link colors, buttons, pretty much everything you might want to customize, you can do so. So you get the idea. We can edit this as we like and make a great deal of changes to the look of the site. So I'm just going to save my changes there, and then we'll have a quick look at how the site now looks. It's updated with my options, and there you can see from scrolling in and out that it's very responsive. So just like with Bootstrap, we switch to a drop-down menu, even though we don't have a menu yet. When we go to the mobile view, and then it stretches out nicely to the full menu on the full screen. Right, so we're making a blog page. I'm going to use this as my basic setup. So the renew theme, or the renew track I should say, and then demo number 5. So to get that content, I switch over to the demo content section of the X website and click on renew 5 and download that, and then we just expand renew 5, and that will give us an HTML file which we can just copy into our post. Just before we do that, we'll have a little look at what's going on here. You might notice that this looks a little bit different to the HTML files that we're used to. That's because in WordPress you use these square brackets to delineate shortcodes. So the various themes create their own shortcodes for putting together certain layouts, image styles, etc. So these do tend to be specific to the theme in particular, so I'd recommend picking one theme and then sticking with it, which is why it's worth choosing one which is as general and as widely applicable as possible. So we'll look at those shortcodes in more detail later on, but for now we'll just copy the text, switch back over to our WordPress dashboard, and then we'll we'll edit our front page. So at the moment our front page is our sample page, so we'll just edit that and paste our content straight in, and then update. Now let's take a look. So we're getting there, but we haven't lost the look that we created originally. So to get all of the settings for the theme we want, we now need to download the customizer settings. Easy enough. And then we expand that to get our JSON file. Again, we'll look at JSON in the API section of the course. We'll find out more about that. And then we can import that using the customizer. Customizer import. And there's our file. All done. Okay, now let's refresh, see how we look. Great. So now we've recreated that look of the front page there. We've got our nice set of options on the left and our sample page title on the top. So really this is going to be a blog, so we want the front page to be our posts page. So let's go back and change that in the settings. So it's under settings, reading. And we want the front page to be our posts. Let's take a look. Great. That's looking much better. And then we could do with a menu on the left. Now we have created one, so let's use that one. So we just add our menu into primary location. Let's put it in the footer as well. Obviously with most sites you'd probably want a different menu in the footer, but for this demo this will do for now. Great, so now we've got our content down there, we've got our blog. So now let's just zip around a bit and improve a few things and add a few things into this blog. So first of all, the title there, the blog, is not great. So let's pop into the customizer and change the blog title. I think I will remove that first post as well. So header. We're going to use that as the logo for the moment. Putting a picture of yourself obviously would be a great thing to do on your blog. I definitely recommend that. But we'll keep it generic for now. There we go. So I'll just call it something like Rob's blog. Let's save that. Now we'll just get rid of the first post, and then we'll add a couple of widgets, and that will take us to the end of our blog creation. So widgets are what WordPress calls chunks of code to allow us to do something in particular. So the default widgets are things like, as I mentioned, calendars, a list of pages, a tag cloud of all the tags that you've used. You can put arbitrary text and HTML in there, search widgets, etc. So first of all, let's look at the main sidebar. So that will be the sidebar at the top of the site, on the right, sorry, i.e. this one down here. So let's start with a nice search box. So we just drag that up into the main sidebar. We can save it there, it doesn't really need a title, it's fairly obvious what it is. And let's just take a look. There it is. There's our search box, nice. And let's just try out a couple of things. So we'll have a calendar and some recent comments. You can obviously play around with those as you like, but it's nice to give people access to the latest content on your site. So now let's just put some data into the footer just so we can see how it looks. You'll notice we've got 3 widget areas in the footer. They correspond to 3 columns. So we'll put recent posts there. We'll add some arbitrary text, HTML, to see how that works. So all you need to do is contact me and then whatever text you want. So find me on Twitter, at TechEdRob. Something like that. You can put whatever you like in there. And then let's fill in the third. We'll just have a list of categories. We'll call it categories. And then save that. Let's take a look. Great, so nicely laid out. I definitely want to fill out the contact me section a little bit more, so it equals up with the other two. But really, I think this is a great starting point for a blog. The final thing we're going to look at is creating a contact form. So if we switch over to the Contact Us page, we can add a form in there. So at the moment we've got our comment form, but that's no good. We want a proper contact form. Now, if we look at the plugins in our site, you'll notice that we've got Contact Form 7. So this is a widely used free WordPress plugin which the X theme integrates with to be able to put contact forms into your page really easily. So if we click on Settings there, then we can set up contact forms which we can then insert into our website wherever we need them. So by default, we've got our contact form 1. This is the shortcode that we can use to insert that contact form into our site. Let's just have a quick look at what we can change. So we can use a bit of HTML with shortcodes to create our form. That's got everything we need really: name, email, subject, and message. But we could adjust that as we like, and we can decide where the email is going to go, etc. So that's exactly what we want. Let's just go to Pages and put that contact form in our Contact Us page. So I'll just add a bit of text. I'd love to hear from you. And then paste in my contact form code. And now let's have a look. There we go. We've got our form and we can just fill it in right away there. And as you can see, it's styled really nicely. It looks great. A quick note, you'll probably be seeing these leave a reply options everywhere. You might not want to have the option to comment on your comment form, so it's very easy to switch off. We just need to scroll to the top and enable from our screen options, discussion. Now we can see the discussion options, and we can switch off allow comments. And then update. Let's just refresh, make sure that that's worked. Fabulous. So no comment form on that page now. If you want to turn off comments in general on your site, you can do that in the settings and discussion options. So allow people to post comments on new articles. If you switch that off, then every new article, page or post that is created will not allow comments by default. Great, so I think we've got a nice looking blog. If you've been reading my book, How to Earn $10,000 While Learning to Code, you'll know that I think a blog is a really great way to build an audience and to talk about what you're doing, even as you're learning. So go away, use this structure to create a blog of your own, and when you're done, please do post a link to it in the forum. I'd love to check it out. Setting up an e-commerce site using WordPress is extremely straightforward. Let's find out straight away how to do it. I'm going to use the same demo site that we set up before for our blog and just add in the shop to that site. So there are a number of e-commerce plugins for WordPress, but there's a standout one known as WooCommerce. It's free to use if you stick with the basic features, and it also integrates really well with a number of themes, including the X theme. So I've just installed it there using the plugins from within WordPress. Now, like the X theme, the WooCommerce plugin comes with some demo content, which we'll use to see how it's all going to look. So let's just do that. Install WooCommerce pages. And there we go. So everything now is set up for us. Let's have a quick look at the settings that we're able to change. So things like currencies, styles and layouts, colors, and I won't go into all the details, but products, tax, checkout, shipping, etc. All the sort of things that you would need to adjust and play around with for your shop. The WooCommerce dummy data file is actually contained in the WooCommerce plugin folder, which gives us an opportunity to just dig in a little bit into what plugins actually look like. So they're essentially collections of PHP files which work together with the default WordPress installation to provide whatever function the plugin is meant for. So if we have a look at WooCommerce, select there. So if you're having a problem with a plugin, or if you want to make it do something it doesn't do, then this is where to go to actually play with the code of the plugin itself. It's a dangerous thing to do, but it can be a lot of fun trying to wrestle a plugin to do what you want it to. For the moment, we're just going to look at this dummy data file, which is what we want. So I'm going to select all of that and then save it into a file. So I'll switch over to Text Wrangler, and then I'll just save as and we'll call it dummy data.xml. Great. Now we can go back over to WordPress and import our data, just in the same way we did before. There we go. Choose the file and import it. And then we'll choose download and import file attachments. That means that it will download any images and other content for the import. That can take a little while, so I'll just pause the video while it's going through. Great, now that's done. If we go back over to pages, there's a few new pages have been added through the WooCommerce plugin. The one we'll look at first is the shop, so let's just see what that looks like. It's an empty page, so you would guess that it would have no content, but WooCommerce actually uses this page to display the main homepage of the shop. So let's take a look and see what it actually looks like. There it is. So we can see all of our default content really nicely displayed using our theme. If we roll over, we get an add to cart. We can look at the message there. So as you can see, very nicely, straight away, we've got a really good looking shop. Let's add it to our cart. That's done. So now if we look at our cart, we can see it again. It's displaying really nicely. And we could actually go through to order there. So that's how easy it is to create a shop. There's a few things that you'll probably want to customize. So let's have a little look at WooCommerce and see how we do that. So in the products page, here we can see all the demo products that we've uploaded. And we can make various changes to prices, categories, tags, etc. So that's where you would edit all of your products. If you want to make slightly bigger changes to, say, the way the shop page appears, you can do that in the settings under products there. So you can choose which of your pages is your main shop page. So we'll keep it as shop for the moment. And you can choose how those products are displayed. If you want to add a set of products on a particular page, you can use what's known as a shortcode. So we've mentioned them before. I've got the WooThemes website up here with the WooCommerce shortcodes. So if, for example, we wanted to show recent products, then we would just use this code here, and that would allow us to put 12 products per page in 4 columns. So let's see how that works. Let's pick a page. Let's choose our sample page. And we'll get rid of all of this and just replace it with a single WooCommerce shortcode. And then view it, and there you go. So again, really nicely displayed, really nicely laid out. So as our final look at shops, we're going to switch to a different theme. So we'll go for, I'll pick one at random this time, Integrity 01. Why not start at the beginning? So same as before, we're just going to download the zip file to the desktop and then open it up. And that will give us a JSON file, which we can then install using the customizer. And that will switch us over to the new style. So we want integrity01.json. So we'll upload and import that. That's done, and now let's just refresh our page. And you can see we've now got a completely different style, but it still looks great. So that's how we can use the X theme and WooCommerce to create a shop really quickly and really easily. This challenge is a little bit different to the others in the course, in that I'm not going to lead you through it. So in this chapter, I've taken you through the basics of WordPress, installing and customizing themes, and we've created a great looking blog and an awesome shop using the X theme and the WooCommerce plugin. So I'd recommend you use the WooCommerce plugin if you want to make a shop, and the X theme no matter what you're doing. But quite simply, find someone who wants a website and build it for them. Ideally get paid if you can, but do it if not. But don't worry if you don't, it's all good practice. Take a look at my book, How to Earn £10,000 Whilst Learning. Take a look at my book, How to Earn $10,000 While Learning to Code, if you need some ideas. And as always, post what you do on the forum, I'd love to take a look. Good luck!